Good evening. Welcome to this regularly scheduled meeting of the Jefferson County Board of Education. We would first order of business is the Pledge of Allegiance. Looks like we have some troops here to lead us tonight. Please introduce our, I see we have some Cub Scouts, some Regal
Yes, good evening. My name is Mrs. Washington from North Jefferson Elementary School. We have a group of gentlemen here to do the pledge from PAC 95. They're going to introduce themselves, after which Jackson's going to lead us in the pledge.
Outstanding.
I'm Asher, and I'm Keaton, and I am a Weeblo. I'm Colin, and I'm a Weeblo too. I'm Tristan, and I'm a Tiger. I'm Jackson, and I'm a Weeblo.
Yeah, flag is right over here. Whenever you're ready.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well done. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Gosh. That was a long time ago. Madam Superintendent?
Oh, goodness. No, I only have one comment. Today we received a notice from Miss Joan Willard, who has been a very able leader and director for RESA 8, and she notified us of her pending resignation. She is leaving the directorship of RESA 8 to return to Morgan County. She's been a very, very good support for us and a good friend, and we wish her well and very much hope that RESA 8 is able to find a good, strong leader to take her place. And I also wanted to publicly thank the very many staff and principals who prepared for the state superintendent, Dr. Michael Martirano's visit since our last meeting. He was very, very impressed with the level of instruction and care that he saw. He both held a forum with our teaching and leadership staff. They did a fantastic job, and also toured a number of our schools where he was warmly welcomed and had a really, really good visit. So thank you very much to everyone who helped make that happen.
Yeah, that was, I know all the board members enjoyed both the opportunity to visit with Dr. Martirano, but also with teachers, administrators, and students at several of our schools. It was a very interesting and exciting day.
Look at me.
All right.
It's my phone.
Did they sign up for citizens' comment?
Yes, no, it was my husband. Did not.
Action on approval of the minutes of our last regular board meeting. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Any questions, clarifications? If not, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. We have some citizens signed up for citizens' comments tonight, and we welcome citizens' comments and appreciate you being here. Just a couple of reminders. We do ask you to limit your remarks to 3 minutes. We'll call you by name, and you're invited to you can go to the podium to address the board. We also remind you that under both federal and state law, privacy regarding students, you're not allowed to mention any students by name, and so I'd ask you to respect the FERPA laws regarding confidentiality for students. And we have we can, we'll let you know when you have a minute left, and I will call in the order that I think I received these, and my apologies if I can't read some of these very well. I can't, I'm sorry, I'm not sure if that's Mr. or Ms. Nathan.
Eric.
Eric.
It's Mr.
Eric Nathan.
Honey,
that's the
podium over there.
I'm just going to stay right here.
That's fine.
First they came for the socialists, and I did not speak out because I was not a socialist. Then they came for the trade unionists, and I did not speak out because I was not a trade unionist. Then they came for the Jews, and I did not speak out because I was not a Jew. Then they came for me, and there was no one left to speak for me. In order to maintain and support a high level of education in our schools, we need to strengthen the partnership between community and schools, not by overpowering each other, but by complementing one another. It is absolutely necessary that our community supports the school system, not only by voting, but by actively participating and supporting our children's education. We need to address behavior problems in a timely manner and work side by side. We cannot promote a permissive and unruly behavior in our society or schools. There are consequences and repercussions in life, and children need to learn this in order to maintain social order. Throughout the United States, we have all seen the consequences of lack of attention to school problems, from suicides to school shootings. It's dangerous for everybody to be silent and indifferent to harmful, disrespectful, or disruptive behavior. It is absolutely necessary to know that our public schools have a diverse makeup. We encounter people with different ideas, languages, from different races and customs. But nevertheless, we need to respect one another in order to have a safe learning environment for teachers and students. And it's the civic responsibility of our leaders to make us less vulnerable by promoting a positive image. And for this, I want to add something. My wife was teaching at a school in Maryland several years back, and they asked her to teach Spanish. They went through 4 Spanish teachers within a month. She was the 5th. And then she told me what was going on in the schools up there. And it was very disruptive. Not only disruptive, but if any of you ever saw the movie Blackboard Jungle with Cliff Robertson, about an individual who comes back from the war, becomes a teacher, and he has to put up with gang members. It's exactly the type of activity that was going up there. She lived that. And I was fuming to the point where I wanted to go up there and just wring some kids' necks, but she told me I better not because I'd be in trouble at home. So, but when I said, you go to the school, you go to the principal, you go to the administration, wherever it is, and you talk to them and tell them what's going on. Well, she did that a couple times. Nothing happened. They ignored it. Well, I was to the point where I was going to go and start a civil rights violation act against our system, against them, lawsuit. But she quit in the meantime. And unfortunately, I just let it go. I was amazed and surprised to find that something like this can happen in this school here, because it should never have been. My own daughter had to go through a civil rights violation back in when she was going through a middle school. And I figured the principal never handled it, but my wife went up there and she took care of it. And I figured that was the last time something like this would happen, because I never heard of anything like this happening again until just recently when this whole thing started up.
Ask you to conclude, please.
Okay. I expect the schools to back the teachers, not only the students, but the teachers themselves. Students need to learn to be disciplined. If they're going to be disruptive and cause problems like this, they either need to be disciplined for that day or send them out of the school, find some other thing for them, or some other place. But they do not need to go through this. The teachers do not need to go through this, and especially fellow students do not need to have bullying or racism. That's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Nathan. Heidi Glenn.
I'll go to the podium. I'm short. My daughter is a senior at Jefferson, and some of you might say, well, what do you care anyway? Your daughter's leaving. Because I care about the school. So, to open, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to express my concerns. As many of you are aware, for the last several years or so, because I've been around here for 24 years, and in some cases longer, Jefferson High School has done little or nothing to combat the abuse to its teachers by students, most often in the form of verbal, disrespect, and more recently, racial harassment. How can we possibly keep good teachers in this environment? Teachers who are already overworked and underpaid, and I'm willing to have my taxes raised, by the way, to pay them more, because they deserve it. There's some great teachers at Jefferson High School. Teachers who are going to be tempted to go to other counties for employment where the pay is better, and they are not expected to put up with bullying from students. What message does it send to these young adults that their actions are not punishable by, at the very least, immediate suspension when a teacher is treated in this manner? What message does it send to all the other students at Jefferson High School? The message it sends is you are not responsible or accountable for your actions. It's okay to tell a teacher to shut up and then maybe throw in a racial slur right after that when there's 26 other kids in the classroom. I understand that there is an investigative process that must be followed, but in the end, the outcome has overwhelmingly been in favor of the student. Moreover, just removing the student from the classroom and putting he or she in another classroom is a complete cop-out. In the real world, a person would be fired for that kind of behavior. And I might add, okay, so would the teacher if the positions were reversed. These are young adults who know the difference between right and wrong. These are not elementary-age children. They need to be taught that these kinds of comments are abusive and completely unacceptable. Maybe an idea would be to look at other schools and see how they word their handbook or do the law, because as far as I can see, the new Safe Schools Act has done very little to rectify this problem. The process needs to change clearly. It needs to change for our students and especially our teachers. Our students and teachers deserve a better learning environment. And let me just wrap it up by saying, sadly, what is currently in place is failing them. As our community becomes more ethnically diverse, it is important to embrace all the wonderful cultural enrichment that can come from this, in and out of the classroom. I care about this school and what the future holds. That's why I've taken the time to speak to you all. Change can come with open communication and compassion. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Bennett. Ricky, Nathan?
Good evening, everyone, and for those of you who don't know me, mostly everyone in the room, I'm Ricky Nathan, and I'm a senior at Jefferson High School, and my concern for my school and the future of it is I would like to know where the line would be drawn with bad behavior in school, and if another student were to insult another one with some racial slur, some belittling statement such as that, then I'm sure that something would be done about it after a fight broke out, because that would probably be when that would be handled, not as soon as it happened, because apparently that's not the case with such behavior. And I feel if this behavior isn't dealt with in a timely manner, then we might lose all the best teachers that we have at Jefferson High School to these sort of racist, belittling things that they have to say to them. And I think that would honestly be a very big shame. because there are some very good teachers at Jefferson High School, and I look up to them, and I cherish them, that I have such a good education because of them, and it would be a shame to lose them to such a thing as rude students. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Bella Janata?
Good evening. My name is Bela Janata, and I am in Senora Hauer's second period class, which was the class that it happened in. And I'm speaking on behalf of that class because it was incredibly shocking, I think, for most people to hear a student speak to a teacher that way. I'm a freshman, by the way, at Jefferson High School, and I am just here to speak for the class because everybody expected something to, everybody was expecting something to be done about it, and that's why at the time it wasn't too big of a deal. But as things started progressing, people started to get a little bit worried about it, and nobody was punishing the child who did it. So I am just here to speak on behalf of everybody who was in the class, how it was not a good experience to go through. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Horner, that's it, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. Well, first of all, thank you all for being here. It is, and for showing the investment and time for coming to share your concerns with the school board. This is obviously very important to us, and it's very important to hear from our community. And we appreciate you taking the time, and to the students in particular, appreciate you in engaging. This probably both of you have engaged before, either on behalf of yourselves or other students, but keep doing it. This is important, and it's good to see you here tonight. Thank you all very much. Any other comments? And I know the superintendent that this issue is being looked at through the proper process and with care and diligence. So, and that's all we can comment on at this time. Thank you. Consent agenda.
You will note that there are 3 red line items on your consent agenda, number 7, number 21, and number 24. Which?
And I have to excuse ourselves. Thank you so much.
Sure. Thank you all for being here. Thank you very much. Okay, those 3 revisions, any further?
No, sir.
Okay. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Any questions on the consent agenda? No. If not, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Unfinished business? Did you say that? No. Okay, new business?
Mr. Dingus and the Transportation Committee are here with a presentation for the board. Actually, Mr. Dingus is on the Transportation Committee, and we have at least 3 of the members here. If you'd like to stand and introduce yourselves, please.
Same Parker.
Danielle Rinaldi.
Chris Kaufman.
Thank you all for being here and for all your continued hard work.
The committee proposed that we'd have, 3 more people?
Yes.
three more people other than the people that are here today, are looking at the Director of Transportation. We've had a very hard time filling the Coordinator of Transportation. So the committee brought to us and said to us basically, well, is there anything else we can do? And we've looked through this, and basically something we thought as a committee might work and get us some better candidates was to go to a Director of Transportation. If you go to a Director of Transportation, we basically had one round of interviews. That one round came up with one candidate. We all agreed on the candidate. We were all happy with the candidate. The candidate declined the position because she was $13,000 a year under her current position as an assistant transportation director in one of the Virginia counties close. So she, at that point, she also was given, in her other job, which was part of a package, was given the use of a vehicle, mainly the way we've always used the vehicle in the past, which is because when we have snow, this person's expected to run the routes with everybody else. When we have a bus accident, they're expected to be at the bus accident. When we have those kind of things, they're expected to be there. And what we're looking now, and it's been 4 months that we've had no person this time, and we had a hard time last time. I mean, we had a very hard time when we found Mr. Puglisi, and that was a year ago. The Transportation Committee is requesting that we change Coordinator of Transportation to Director of Transportation. This only gives us an extra $1,500. The stipend is $1,500 higher, and we would, at that point, grant them also the use of a vehicle. Hopefully, this will bring some people to the position. We're short, we'll bring her back. We're not trying to do that. We're just trying to make it a little bit more reasonable. This job, the way it runs most of the time, and you have to be awake and moving during these hours anyway, even though we're going to watch their hours, and we put supervisors in, so that would help us. Sam is one of our supervisors. And was Rhonda on the list today? Yes. And Rhonda, who we approved tonight. So it will help having that time. But the bus garage is open from 5 o'clock in the morning to 5 or 6 at night, every day. Well, almost every day that we have, every day we have school. And a lot of times on Saturdays, Sundays not normally, but Saturdays. And all summer. They have all summer something going on. They're always have some kind of job, some time of extra thing, of extra duties. So knowing these kind of things, this is what our committee has asked for, and we wanted to bring to you.
We have a motion?
So moved.
Okay, thank you. Second? Yep.
You can take your pick.
Laurie seconded. Questions?
What would the differences be in the qualifications of a coordinator and a director?
There are no differences in the coordinating and director.
So basically, the only thing we're doing is offering $1,500 more with this.
That's right, basically it.
And the vehicle.
And the vehicle.
And the vehicle.
It's a 261-day job. If you look at your job description, it says a minimum of 200 days and can be extended, but it's going to be a 261. That's what it's always been, is 261. That's what we think we bring it back at.
So what would be the benefit of putting it as a minimum 200 days, knowing that it's...
This job can't happen 200 days.
No, but I'm saying, what would be the benefit then of, instead of that, just putting on their employment term 261?
It's a typo.
Okay,
Yeah, it was always, it's supposed to be 260.
got it.
You said it's typo,
Yeah.
so it's okay.
Well,
Yeah.
it actually says minimum. If you read through it, you could read it either way. But that's the normal thing that comes in there, and then it's normally marked out.
That
and
makes
put
sense.
261. But I wanted to talk about that right here, because that's what it does say in your, on your job description.
I think according to state code, the jobs are always described as 200 days.
And can be
Per
extended.
code, and that's listed on the job description, but it can be
Right.
extended. And in this case, it's
261.
261.
Thanks, Jen.
Well, we appreciate the committee's work, and obviously you're anxious to get someone into this position, and dealing with the realities of recruiting is what I think I'm hearing. So having said that, I mean, obviously, I mean, while this is certainly a step in the right direction, is it going to be enough, I think?
That was a source of discussion with the committee.
We're trying to get the right person. And by doing this can attract the right person. Because we don't need another settle, so to speak.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
There was some concern and discussion with the committee that it would not be sufficiently large enough to attract a candidate, but there was also a great deal of discussion that we have hundreds of employees that are very deserving of additional pay. And we simply are struggling to recruit someone. We have very, very limited number of people who are capable of substituting and fulfilling that role and stabilizing. We have 142 employees in that section, and unlike the other portions of our workforce, one of the things that we've talked a lot about in the Transportation Committee, if I have a teacher who's out, absolute worst case scenario. Okay, bring these 2 teachers in, spread the class out. There are things that we can do. You know, one of the cooks is out, another cook steps up. Things can still get done. Guess what? One person drives a bus. If you're not there, the kids don't get to school. I need another one person in that seat to drive the bus. It is the kind of work that can't get done otherwise. So it's a fairly crucial position, and we have had a significant degree of difficulty. We don't have the luxury as we did when we searched for Mr. Pettiford. That was an 8-month search, and we're very glad that we held out with someone for his credentials, but we had someone sitting in the seat who could stay there until we could release it. We don't have, although God bless every day Becky Stokes for doing this work, but she has limitations because she's actually retired, so we only have her for a certain number of days, and once we utilize that resource, we do not have another individual with that background and history who can come in and support us in the interim.
Any other questions?
I just hope it works.
Yeah.
I really do. I compliment you on your decision to do this. Unfortunately, I'm mighty afraid it's not going to be adequate with everything, you know, all the counties around us are stepping up first, so to speak. So I don't know. We may have to look further to satisfy that need, and I know you guys are working hard on it. Hopefully this will work.
And I do have to compliment this committee. They meet every single month about issues pertaining to transportation, and they've really taken the bull by the horns about, you know, we're going to take responsibility for our department, and we're going to make these suggestions. And as we have pointed out repeatedly in that meeting, the board has heretofore taken and supported every single suggestion that they've made, and it takes a certain level of responsibility. You've been given the tools that you've asked for, and do the work, and so we really appreciate them stepping up.
Well, obviously, you know, transportation is not only a big cost of our budget, it's a very important part of getting our students to and from school, and you all have really upped your game and upped the quality of the whole department. So we appreciate all the hard work that you're putting into that. So, any other questions or comments? If not, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Thank you all and good luck.
Yeah, thank you guys for
The
Yes.
next thing I have, again, is about the bus garage. It's, we need a extra half run. That half run is the run that allows us to take students from Jefferson to Washington. That's our voluntary move to try to help us with some redistricting, basically. But it was voluntary. So we used that run to pick up the students at Jefferson and take them to Washington. They're our voluntary transfer people.
We have a motion.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Questions? Is this, have we been doing this for a while? Is this new?
Yes.
Or is this,
It's not the same.
It's been since the beginning of the year, picked up like 8 kids in Baker and then take them to Washington, South District.
They're your people from Harpeth area.
Yeah. I think it's just for, I guess until the redistricting happens. I don't know if it's going to be continued for next year, is it?
That'll be the decision
Yeah,
we have to
that-
make. Yeah.
That was redistricting.
I'm just asking,
Yeah.
redistricting.
It really depends on where the redistricting is. Right. Yeah.
these students?
So,
These were students who, when we went to Harpers Ferry and explained the differences in student populations at both schools, we approached the 8th grade class, took them on a tour of Washington and asked those who would be willing to, would they voluntarily, the ones who were in the Jefferson feeder pattern, go to Washington to alleviate some of the overcrowding. And these were the families that voluntarily chose to do that. And we promised them transportation because they went at our behest. We weren't going to ask them to and then ask them to transport their kids because it wasn't a transfer. It was our request to
Sure.
remove some overcrowding.
Well, thank you, parents.
so I'm
Any
wondering-
questions?
I guess I'm wondering, because we have kids right now who come to transfer from
Washington to
Washington to
Jefferson.
Jefferson for ROTC.
You can't, again, that's that one person thing. They can't do both, they can't be in both directions. So you don't want our kids late for school or too early at the other end.
Washington and Jefferson.
The ROTC is a regular driver.
So it doesn't get there early enough that if the kids took their regular buses to Jefferson High, that Washington bus who has the ROTC kids drops those kids at Jefferson, picks up those kids and takes them to Washington. And then you only have one person doing,
They start at the same time.
okay. I just didn't know if buses got there early enough that you'd have
Although
a,
you might.
That's right.
I don't know how early. They probably have to get there like 15 minutes earlier. Yeah.
If y'all want, I mean, we can bring it back to you and we'll go from there.
well, I don't wanna hurt the kids and the families and all, I get that, but if we got the time to do that, I'm thinking, because if they're ROTC kids, they may have other responsibilities and things, and they wouldn't mind getting there maybe 15 minutes early. I don't know. I mean,
Well,
it's at least a thought.
what's the cost estimate of this?
It's a quarter of a run, so
It's a half day.
it's half a day.
Position in quarter morning, quarter afternoon, take them home.
So
If they are-
it depends on what their
Sure.
rate of pay is.
Yeah.
But it's half a service position, which we normally figure service positions
So you've been doing this run
30,000.
anyway
Yes.
during the year, correct?
right now.
So
Most of the time. we
there's
do
no harm to students and no loss to them for you to continue to do it for 2 more weeks. Explore Miss Ogden's solution and then come back if it's not effective, correct? Okay, that would be my suggestion.
I mean, I'm certainly open to exploring that, but I hate, the families have made a commitment, and I just hate to put the students through.
It's not the
What do we have to do? How are they gonna get back to Jefferson?
Well, they're doing this, they're essentially doing this right now,
Well,
right?
yes, sir, we are.
So nothing would change for the next 2
The
weeks.
students are in no way, shape, or form being, my understanding, we're transporting these students now. There's no loss to them.
No. Okay. Now, they have a dedicated substitute right now. But
The difference would be they're gonna be getting on one bus going to Jefferson and then getting on another bus and going to Washington. So that's your difference. They're picking up at home now and going right to their school. So the
Right.
difference is a time lapse.
So there's a time lapse, and just,
So,
Well, the only reason it made me think of it is because I know with the way our
Right.
OTC works in
Yeah, they
Berkeley
go.
County, they like all go to Hedgesville or something, and then they pick up a bus in Hedgesville and they take them all to
Right.
Martinsburg all together.
right, that would be.
So that's the only one thing that made me think.
see, the ROTC bus in the morning, she does her own route, and then she gets to the school, and then she picks up the ROTC, takes them to Jefferson, drops them off. She has a slight layover, but to pick them up from Jefferson, take them back to Washington, they're gonna be that 25-minute late getting back to Washington, see what I'm saying? So it's kind of hard to get a bus, unless there's a bus at Jefferson that has enough time on their layover to take them over to Washington High School. But like I say, though, once Jefferson lets out, there's still that 20-minute time frame because they both let out about the same time, or let in about the same time. So we had to work on it first to try it, but it may not work.
That's why substitutes doing it now. Because the time frame when school starts and when school ends, nobody's waiting
Right now, they're getting
and nobody's late.
Like the ROTC works because when she gets to Washington High School, she's letting her regular kids off, and all those buses are putting the ROTC on her bus to take them over to Jefferson.
So she gets there early enough right now to pick up those ROTC kids and then get to Jefferson.
Yeah, same as the Rumsey bus. The Rumsey bus shows up, all the buses transfer to Rumsey, and then take them to Rumsey.
She leaves when we do. Right after we're pulling out, she pulls out.
Right. So they're late.
Yeah, they're about 20 minutes late already.
Well, of course, the Rumsey bus, he doesn't leave until 7, so he might be able to add it to his run that he does that run. But see, he's got a 4 days run too, so.
Yeah, just so how
I
about we,
guess, you know, what my concern is the amount of time the kids are spending on a bus. I mean, because aren't we
Waiting
adding
for a
to
bus.
kids that are waiting for a bus?
Yeah.
I mean, I think we need to minimize that as much as possible. I mean, there's obviously a trade-off here, but in terms of cost and weight, but
well, and like you said, next year things are going to be different anyway. Some kids are here and there, so I think, yeah, just track it down and figure out if you come up with any other idea or something. That'd be good.
You do that.
so then, okay, so we have a motion to approve the position, right? But do you want to modify that, or you just want to oppose it, or what?
I think we need to oppose it and then probably table it.
If you oppose it, if it gets voted down, then you don't need to do anything else. It's gone.
But they can bring it back.
Yeah, it can be brought back. It would be in a different form anyway.
Okay.
We table it. We just vote to table it.
Well, we gotta do something with this motion
Motion on the
first.
floor.
Yeah, there's a motion on the floor, so the motion is to approve posting a new position. So I get all of those in favor of taking that action now should say aye.
All right.
Aye. So let's see, show of hands. We have 3, 4 opposed.
Aye.
So I guess the position gets posted again.
Okay, motion carries. Thank you. Well, you know, we gotta have a couple of those every now and then.
How come I'm always the way?
You're not always.
No, don't feel like the Lone Ranger.
That's right. Any other, I understand we have an executive session regarding personnel,
Yes, sir.
and do we anticipate any action?
No, sir.
Okay. Before we entertain a motion for executive session, any comments or reports from the board? We'll start with the nay vote over here.
Nothing more to say. No, just enjoyed the band at Shepherd. Enjoyed that experience to get to see and that partnership with the college. I think that I'd love to see more of that in lots of different areas. So that was nice to see this past weekend and the pouring down rain.
Yeah.
Not so pouring down rain, but
It was good.
Mr. Osborne?
I also got lots of comments about Jefferson High Band. They did not look like a high school band. They were awesome. Joan Willard is going to be greatly missed, and I have a report from the council meeting on September 29th. They had a early Head Start training, and it's about the curriculum, and it's a curriculum called Creative Curriculum, and it focuses on the positives and the play type of curriculum. The cost of living allowance for Head Start that was voted through is a COLA, but it's only from the RESA. It does not come out of county budgets. We went through our end-of-the-year financial reports, and we had the biggest carryover we've ever had of $40,000, which is 6.2% of their revenue in carryover. We've never had anything like that before. That's another reason we hate to see Jen going anywhere. They are working on an alternative certification program, and they're working with an online program, and it's through, it's out of Texas. It's called iTeach, and they're working with that right now. And the scores A through F will be released on October 14th.
October 14th?
They will be released to the schools on October the 14th. We will have 2 weeks to review them for accuracy, and then we can appeal within that time frame, and then in November there will be a public release of scores.
Joan won't only be missed for this $40,000 carryover. Her work with the counties and the state, and in a very small amount of time, she did a great deal of things that made RESA more effective.
When is her effective date?
November, I think 10th.
And will there be another meeting before with
Yes.
her? Please convey to her our appreciation. I think we've actually had a working relationship with RESA 8 in the past year or so, and have seen evidence of some contribution. So
It's a very time-consuming job, and it works you very hard. And I'll be honest with you, Frank Alavita, when he was there, did a nice job and started things rolling in the directions that Joan picked up on. And we've had two really good ones that's the difference between that RESA being effective and not effective, is that leadership.
thanks for that report. Mr. Cable?
Nothing to report tonight.
Mrs. Skinner?
I don't have anything. Thanks.
I would just add, as another proud band parent, that it was fun to see the Jefferson High Band, and halftime of the Shepherd game, I did see Dr. Hendricks, the president, afterwards, and thanked her, and said, like you, that I hope we see more engagement like that. So that was great.
The behavior of the students was exceptional.
Yeah.
Just as another point to that, there was a lady sitting behind me from Maryland, and she said, wow, after they were done, she said, Maryland needs to step up. She said, clearly, this community supports their arts programs. And I turned around and I said, well, I'm on the Board of Education. Thank you very much. Jefferson County, we thank you. So it was nice to just kind of hear those comments around us from the community that they, even people who are not from here just really, really enjoyed it. So they represented us well.
So,
Mr. President, I
Yes,
do
sir.
have one thing that I could comment on. This coming week, the Extension Committee will meet. Most people, I think, are not aware of it. but we lost our actual ag extension agent. He went to another job, and we have a new girl in that. She's been in about 3 or 4 months now, I think, maybe a little more. Unfortunately, she's going to be the only one pretty quickly because our 4-H agent was married this past summer, and she would like to move down to D.C. where her husband is employed and lives, and she's up here employed and lives, but she has tendered her resignation, but she just doesn't have a date on it. But she's working on that as much as she can, so her position is going to come open. And then our, what do they call it? Yeah. The one, shoot, I can't think. It's with the home ec and that kind of stuff. She is retiring the 31st of this month, I believe it is. So that's going to leave 2 positions open. And we're having a meeting this coming week with 2 of the folks from WVU who actually run the programs. So we're hoping that they're going to agree to fill those 2 positions. We, as a board, make a contribution towards their salary, and so I hope they will. We will be bending their ears pretty hard. Yeah. I'm the chairman of that committee, and I'm looking forward to them working with us. So we'll let you know.
Yeah, thank you. And obviously, the 4-H program and extension more broadly is such a strong partner in the community in our schools. Please,
4-H, FFA,
yeah,
all of those.
Obviously this is great importance to us. And now Mrs. Skinner would tell you to, first of all, don't accept the resignation letter of the 4-H agent. Her quality of life living here versus moving to D.C., there's no comparison, I can tell you from personal experience. And her husband can just commute. Yeah? So just don't accept it.
Well, if we had that option, I think we probably would try that. But unfortunately, they work for the university. They don't work for us.
Well, thank you. We'll entertain a motion to enter executive session for consideration of personnel issues.
So moved.
Second.
We have a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. We'll take a quick 5-minute break. Thank you.